If it is for me, it go surely come to me. They no fit to me for work. Men they cash out, men they job. No go change your number to bad passporty. Make you try to show love for everybody. Don't forget your party to bad passporty. Make you try to show love for everybody. Don't go change your number to bad passporty. Make you try to show love for everybody. Don't forget your party to bad passporty. Make you try to show love for everybody. If it is for me, it go surely come to me. They no fit to me for work. Men they cash out, men they job. Don't go change your number to bad passporty. Make you try to show love for everybody. Don't forget your party to bad passporty. Make you try to show love for everybody.
If we gentle, mighty Vargas if we gentle, show love for everybody.
Get ready for the trophy lift. You've got it. A smile as wide as the kingdom. And the kingdom is his. He's fighting back the tears, Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not sure he's
He gave everything to football, dedicated his entire life to the game, from Portugal to England, Spain, Italy, and now Saudi Arabia, where he finally wins the Saudi Pro League title with Al Nassr. He is truly the greatest to ever do it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sporty News. I'm your host, as always, Nouha Lucrezia.
And joining her today, it's me, Lucrezia Galli.
Hello, Lucrezia. It's nice to have you on the table.
Hello. Yeah, it's been a while. I've done it with Kamokhela, but I feel like it's been a while, the two of us. Finally Friday, and we do have an interesting weekend ahead, no?
Absolutely. Of course, for today, we will get into Cristiano Ronaldo winning the Saudi Pro League last night. Pep Guardiola announcing that he officially leaves Manchester City. But first, like Lucrezia said it, we do have an interesting weekend on Sporty TV.
Let's have a look at the fixtures that you guys can check out on Sporty TV this weekend. Starting from today, right after Sporty News, you have the EuroLeague basketball Final Four with Olympiacos taking on Fenerbahce. Later on, it's also Valencia against Real Madrid. Then later tonight, early morning, you have the NBA Conference Final Game 3 with San Antonio Spurs taking on the Oklahoma Thunder. Then Hull City versus Middlesbrough in the EFL Championship, and this one is the playoff final. Then we do have another big final. It's FC Barcelona taking up Olympique Lyon in the Women's Champions League final. Again, let's see where the trophy will go this time around. And then on Saturday, we continue with Bayern Munich taking on FB Stuttgart. Again, another final. It's a lot of finals this weekend on Sporty TV, this time in Germany for the DFB Pokal. Then we go to Brazil for Sao Paulo, taking on Botafogo, and Grêmio with taking on Santo in the Brasileirão Serie A. And we wrap everything up on Sunday with two more matches into European leagues. We have Brighton taking on Manchester United and Torino versus Juventus, a big derby to see if Juventus will get those European spots, UCL spots or not.
We shall see. Of course, it is a pretty interesting weekend we have ahead. Make sure to get the Sporty TV app and make sure to be subscribed on our Sporty TV YouTube channel, as you can watch some Women's Champions League on the go, wherever you are. So on YouTube and on the app, you can watch that big final between Barcelona and Olympique Lyon. You can also watch Fenerbahce take on Olympiacos. Actually, Olympiacos take on Fenerbahce later on, right after the news. But I did announce it. I did mention it. Pep Guardiola officially confirms that he is leaving the club after this season. Of course, this comes after I would say not so disappointing season. Of course, they did lose the title to Arsenal, but what a beautiful season he's been having, and what a beautiful 10 years he's had with Manchester City. Now, let's take a look at the video he had prepared to say goodbye to the fans.
And what a time we have had together. Don't ask me the reasons I'm leaving. There is no reason. But deep inside, I know it's my time. Nothing is eternal. If it was, it would be here. Eternal will be the feeling, the people, the memories, the love I have for my Manchester City.
Pep Guardiola, an eternal Manchester City legend. A reminder that with Manchester City, he's won 6 Premier League titles, 1 Champions League title, 5 Carabao Cups, 3 FA Cups, 1 Community Shield, actually no, 3 Community Shields, a UEFA Super Cup, and a Club World Cup. If that's not the palmarès of a legend, I don't know what is. Also, Pep Guardiola for Manchester City has 592 games. In those 592 games, we have 423 wins, 77 draws, and 92 losses. Truly a legend, Lucrezia.
I mean, he's probably, we always say, probably one of the best to ever do it. And as you mentioned, 20 trophies in this 10 years that he had with Manchester City. He does leave on a high, I would say. I mean, he said it himself, don't ask him the reasons why he's leaving. He just feels like it's the right time. He needs to pass it down to someone else now. But, I mean, even this last season, if he won the Premier League, it would have been probably the perfect season. Can you imagine a treble when we didn't expect Manchester City to win one? But at the end of the day, they still got the 2 trophies, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. So I think there was nothing else he had to do with Manchester City. He won everything multiple times. Again, 20 trophies in 10 years, averaging 2 a year. It's just truly spectacular.
Absolutely. Now, in his video, Pep Guardiola did mention that nothing is eternal. And if it was, he would be here. Eternal would be a feeling, the people, the memories, the love that he has for Manchester City. Beautiful words there by Pep Guardiola. Now, you may be asking yourselves, what next? Well, Pep Guardiola apparently has already received so many offers. Saudi Arabia offered up to 80 million euros to get him. You have Morocco monitoring him, and Italian clubs such as Juventus are also monitoring him. So he has a lot to look forward to. But it seems like Pep Guardiola reportedly is taking up a role as a global ambassador for Manchester City from now on to the City Football Club. So he will give technical advice to the clubs in the group, working on specific projects and collaborations. But Lucrezia, in your perfect world, what would Pep Guardiola do?
I'm biased on this one, because also the Italian national team is looking for a coach. Now, they do have the under-21 that they took charge, but as you mentioned, there's a lot of attention, a lot of clubs or national teams do want Pep Guardiola. So I would say for now, yes, he's staying where he belongs, taking up this new role as the global ambassador for Manchester City Football Club. Then maybe, who knows, after a year of rest, maybe it's time for him to go into national football instead of club football, but we'll see. Also, I wanted to note that the Manchester City officially confirmed that they will rename the North Stand in the stadium as the Pep Guardiola stand. So he already has something dedicated to him, and there will be probably a statue dedicated to the man himself outside.
Absolutely. Well, from one legend to another one, Cristiano Ronaldo finally wins the Saudi Pro League title, 41 years old. 970 goals, 37 trophies, and yet the passion remains. He is a true inspiration to all, the greatest to ever do it. And yesterday, the fans were seen chanting as he was playing some drums. Let's take a look at that, and then we can introduce our guest. Well, there you have it there, the legend Cristiano Ronaldo. Also, there were some tears of joy flowing after the game, after he scored the brace in that one game, keeping him closer to that career milestone of 1,000 goals. Now joining us is Mohammed Fayyad from Arab News, who, may I say, did you assist to the match last night?
I wasn't there at the match last night, but I was there in the streets of Riyadh, Tahliya Street, where most of the fans came to commemorate for Al-Nassr. And it was a fantastic sight to see. The streets of Riyadh were all yellow, and it was a great achievement to see with Ronaldo, of course.
Now, obviously, of course, the streets are going to be yellow, even though Al Hilal was also playing that game, and they remain unbeaten in the league, but that's another discussion. Let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo just a second, because everyone doubted him. It seems like yesterday was truly a very high-pressure moment for him. And you can see, I feel like the tears were not only tears of joy, but also tears of relief after he managed to win this league. What kind of season has he had? What kind of emotions do you think he went through this season?
So this season was a very turbulent one for Al-Nassr. They started with a 10-game winning streak and then had a very series of hard games against Al-Ittifaq, Al-Qadsiya, Al-Ahli and Al-Hilal, where they didn't win any of those games. And then came the winter transfer window where Ronaldo himself felt like Al-Nassr were not being supported enough. They only had one winter signing, and it felt like Al-Hilal were going to come back and take and pry that title away from them. But then, Al-Nassr came together as a team. Ronaldo came back into the team, and Jorge Jesus, who said that he was here to help Ronaldo realize that dream of winning the Saudi Pro League title, actually led the team all the way to the very end. They ended up beating Al-Ahli. They did lose to Al-Qadsiya and draw with Al-Hilal at the end, but they proved to come through to the end of the season as the best team in the Saudi Pro League. In one of the hardest seasons, usually Saudi Pro League seasons, there's one or two teams just competing for the title. This was the first that we had all four teams go almost up until the very end. So it's not just a great achievement for Al-Nassr generally, it's a great achievement in one of the hardest Saudi Pro League seasons ever.
Now, Mami, can I also ask you something quickly? I don't want to go back too much to the season, but this past week, it could have been really tough for Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, if he also lost yesterday. So how do you assess this losing in the FC Liga Elite 2 and then winning the Saudi Pro League? What do you think went wrong in the first match?
So Al-Nassr were on the verge of getting the double in a week, defeating Al-Hilal and then winning the AFC Champions League 2, which they have been absolutely perfect in, by far the best team there. But that last second equalizer from Al-Hilal seemed like it had a huge psychological effect on Al-Nassr, and they weren't the team that they usually were this season in that final against Gamba Osaka. But that game, it built a fear in Al-Nassr fans. Like, if we conceded at the last second to Al-Hilal and then lost that AFC Champions League 2 final game and then faced a relegation battling Damak, who needed at least a draw, they ended up getting relegated, of course. Would Al-Nassr be able to actually win that game and take the league? That was the fear that they were facing. But after a very nervy first 30 minutes for Al-Nassr against Damak, they actually proved that in the end, when they come together as a team, they do really well. They just need to get that first goal against a team that plays in a very compact shape. And once they did, it was free-flowing. There was a bit of a 5-10 minute scare when Damak got the penalty, and they almost scored immediately after that. But that's when the man himself, Cristiano Ronaldo, came in, scored the free kick, and then added his second goal. And, it was an amazing, dominant victory for Al-Nassr to lead them. And I don't think there could have been a better ending for them or their fans, or even Ronaldo himself, to end the season.
Agree. Now, yesterday was not only emotional because they won the league, but also because they get to they have to separate with Jorge Jesus, the head coach. Now, Mohammed, Jorge Jesus said it himself. He only took this challenge to help Cristiano Ronaldo win the Saudi Pro League. But losing him so early on, it feels like this is just the beginning of a really nice journey.
Yes, of course. I mean, Al-Nassr, they're going to be back in the AFC Champions League and looking to get back or to get into the Club World Cup. So this really could have been the beginning of a dynasty. I mean, Jorge Jesus himself is the first manager since Gabriel Calderon in 2011 to win the Saudi League with two different teams. He's obviously won it with Al-Hilal. So he's really a manager that knows the league, he knows the country, and he knows how to build top teams. He's obviously managed the Flamengo before and in Portugal. So it did come as a sort of abrupt ending. You did feel like, at least with Jesus, you had another 1 or 2 seasons of dominance with him. But as he mentioned, he came here with one goal and he made that goal happen. So it will be definitely interesting to see where Al-Nassr go from here, because really the next goal for them is, we've done it in Saudi Arabia, but we need to win the AFC Champions League Elite and get that so that we can qualify for the Club World Cup in 2029. And who will replace him is obviously going to be the question of the summer, but I think for now, the focus for the players is going to be on the World Cup, but it will definitely be interesting to see how Al-Nassr bounce back from this departure for next season.
Now, Mohamed, we also mentioned yesterday, Al Hilal was also in action. We know that they've gone unbeaten this entire season. No losses. They did collect 9 draws and 25 wins. Where do you think it went wrong with them? Because up until the last minute, of course, they were fighting for the title as well. And yesterday, they just needed Al Nassr to lose or drop points.
Well, look, with Simone Inzaghi, it's, he's had very few losses with Al Hilal. They lost once in the AFC Champions League Elite, which was really on penalties, and lost to Fluminense in the Club World Cup. So he's really built a team that doesn't accept defeat. Now, the issue is obviously winning. When you draw those many games, it becomes hard on the team to actually win the league. I mean, this is not the first time that a Saudi team has gone invincible in the league and not won it. So there was that issue. And most of the reasons that's being seen, and especially from my view, is Simone Inzaghi has come in with a style that's never been seen before in Saudi Arabia, and specifically at Al Hilal, a team that's usually almost always attacking. We've seen Al Hilal in so many cases this season playing with a back five, giving up possession to the other teams. And this is not something that Hilal fans or Hilal players are used to. Especially, you've gone from Jorge Jesus, who's a very attacking manager and high pressing, to Simone Inzaghi, who is fine with keeping the team back and playing on the counter. And there have been many instances of Al Hilal doing very well on the counter, with Malcolm and Salim Al-Dawsari on the wings, and even Darwin Núñez in the first half of the season. But the reality is that clash in styles caused many moments in the season where Al Hilal, you couldn't tell, did they want to dominate this game or did they want to sit back? And that clash of personalities, that clash of ideology ultimately meant that they just weren't the best overall team in the Saudi League this season.
Well, Mohamed, this reminds me of something that Mourinho himself said, which is, about wins and draws. About the point system when it comes to wins and draws. It's better to get wins and then get 2 losses, but then 3 wins, and you still get more points than if you have multiple draws, but no wins. Thank you so much, Mohamed, for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. And I hope you get to celebrate with Al Nassr fans.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
By the way, you guys, crazy fact, Cristiano Ronaldo has won more trophies after turning 30 than he did before turning 20. He actually won 18 trophies before 30 and 19 after 30. Very, very fun fact here there.
I believe it. As he gets older, he keeps getting new records and setting new milestones. I mean, wow.
Truly a legend, truly a legend. Now, let's move on to some Premier League talk. And if you thought that the Premier League was finished the moment Arsenal got the league title, you were absolutely wrong, because there is one fight. Actually, there are 2 fights going on right now. The relegation battle and the European contention. And let's start with the relegation fight, because it is absolutely drama-worthy. When you look at the Premier League relegation table, you can see that Tottenham Hotspurs, West Ham United, and Burnley Wolves are currently in the hot sauce. Tottenham Hotspurs have 38 points, while West Ham United 36. Burnley and Wolves are, of course, confirmed to be going down. Each have 21 and 19 points. But, I mean, when you look at the games you have tonight, Tottenham Hotspurs face Everton, Burnley face Wolves, and West Ham face Leeds. West Ham still believes in this, basically. While Tottenham Hotspurs, they may have a bit more difficulty saving themselves this weekend.
They do. I mean, it's really tough. We did see the table and those two, how close they are in points, and they both could still get relegated. I mean, they're still fighting for their lives. And you see Tottenham, again, they're sitting in 17th with 38 points, and they do need a win or a draw could also help them, because even if West Ham United wins and they both sit together with 39 points, looking then at the differential, Tottenham will go through. West Ham United would need to score at least 11 goals to make it, even if Tottenham draws and they also win. But it has been a tough season. They definitely need to put themselves together, and tomorrow, I mean, win this match, because it is the last one. And can you imagine Tottenham Hotspur going to the 2nd division now? They take on Everton, which I would say could be a challenging side. I mean, the last time they faced each other, Tottenham did get the win, but we know that now, you know, they haven't been the Tottenham we all think about. They haven't been one of the top 6 teams in the Premier League that you can confidently say they are going to win and going to save themselves.
Absolutely. Now, a reminder that Tottenham Hotspur sit at the 17th place with 38 points, while West Ham at their 18th point with 36. Only 2 points separating the two. Tottenham faces Everton and West Ham faces Leeds. Now, let's talk about another battle that's going on in the Premier League currently. A more crispy one. I really like this one. This weekend is basically who gets into Europe next season across this big league. Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League. Now, already safe in the Champions League is Arsenal, Manchester City, and Manchester United, and Aston Villa, we can say. England has 5 Champions League spots this season, so it means there's 1 spot left. So the teams battling for the remaining European places are Liverpool, Bournemouth, Brighton, Chelsea, and Brentford. Now, let's start with Liverpool. Liverpool does need a result to secure Europe comfortably, so they could even end up in a Champions League spot depending on how the other results go. And Liverpool is very interesting because right now there is a feud going on between Arne Slot and Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah saying that Liverpool is not the same, that they don't have the same mentality anymore. And when asked about it this morning, this is what Arne Slot had to say.
I think Mo and I have both the same interest. We want the best for this club. We want the club to be as successful as possible. We were both part of giving our fans their first league title again after 5 years. But we're also aware, all of us, that we didn't brought the same level this season. And what we want, what he wants, what I want is the club to be as successful as we were last season.
Well, now let's move over to a team in London that for now is sitting in the conference spot. It's Chelsea, sitting in 8th with 52 points, but they are level on points with Brentford as well. So a win in this case will help them getting into those European spots. But of course, as Nouha was mentioning, everything is so connected. Does depend also on what the teams above you do. If some teams manage to draw or lose and Chelsea get the win this weekend, they could possibly qualified for Europe or even stay here for Conference League next week. Now, they do take Sunderland. They take on Sunderland this weekend, pardon me. And Sunderland is currently sitting 10th with 51 points. Now, a very important match for Chelsea. As we know, they had a very turbulent season, starting with one manager, with Enzo Maresca, then him being sacked. We had the substitute, a new manager appointed with a fairly long contract with Liam Rossinier, and now the interim manager waiting for Xabi Alonso to take over. So it's a very interesting situation, the one Chelsea are going through, but they could still potentially qualify for Europe next season.
Of course. Now, it does make it very interesting because of this weird rule that everyone is talking about. So if Aston Villa finishes 5th, and of course they already won the Europa League, England could actually... England gets that 6th spot, which means that people are watching not only Villa's position, but also Liverpool's result and Bournemouth's result all at the same time. So Villa got the win. Now they have to win this last game to see if Liverpool, Bournemouth, and Villa's position play into this. It's a lot of maths, which makes it very interesting. And the games that we have this weekend, the likes of Brighton, Manchester United, Manchester City, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, Sunderland, Chelsea, and of course Crystal Palace. We do know that their game is also going to count, not this one, but the Conference League game, because if they win, then the Premier League gets yet another spot at Europe. But, Lucrezia, it's just all intertwined.
Yeah, as we were saying, there's a lot, not just a lot of maths, but you need to be watching a lot of matches. And I mean, we won't just know now. We have to wait until the Conference League final, as you mentioned, where we'll see Crystal Palace taking on Rayo Vallecano. And in that case, yes, England does get the extra spot. But yeah, it's all very connected. You need to see, I mean, even if you're one of these teams, you don't only have to think about yourself and doing the best you can, but you need to also hope that other teams have to drop points here and there.
Absolutely. Now, reminder of the Premier League table one last time. Arsenal, of course, the winners of the Champions League, followed by Man City, Manchester United, Aston Villa. These are practically the teams that have secured some sort of Champions League spot. Then you have Liverpool, Bournemouth, Brighton, Chelsea, Brentford. Up until here, everyone can still get into Europe. Then, of course, in those relegation spots, Tottenham Hotspurs, West Ham, Burnley, Wolves. Reminder that you can watch Brighton versus Manchester United, as Brighton still dreams of Europe. So that's another battle that's going on for them. So make sure to watch Brighton versus Manchester United on Sporty TV this weekend. Now, let's talk about a team that could make it into the Premier League next season, and it's actually between Hull City and Middlesbrough.
It is. I mean, we didn't think it would be these two teams facing each other. We know there was Southampton that was supposed to be playing in the playoffs, but as a consequence from their Spygate, from the breaking of the relegation, they were removed by the playoffs. So now we do have Hull City taking on Middlesbrough, and this match will take place tomorrow in the afternoon. Well, Hull City welcomes Middlesbrough. Well, actually, they do play in Wembley Stadium, so because it is a final, and the winner of this match tomorrow will be the one team that comes up in the Premier League. Now, we already know the Coventry will already come up in the Premier League, so we do Coventry and Ipswich Town as well. So now we have to see which one between Hull City and Middlesbrough will come up, and also we'll have another final then we'll be seeing with Millwall.
Now, of course, the coach actually of Middlesbrough, Coach Kim Hellberg, did talk before the game. Let's hear what he had to say.
Very difficult to know, to be fair. I think after that emotion you have after the Southampton game away from home and all those things that come with that, and during that time it was very, very tough, and like you can see on a lot of the players, and then it's been like just back and forth where we tried to keep them here, but it's been impossible to train. We said we.
Well, there you had it there. A game that you guys can watch on Sporty TV this weekend, and you guys can even bet on it on Sporty Bet. So, Hull City to win home, 4.37, for a draw 3.62, and for the away team to win 1.19. Make sure to bet responsibly, and betting is reserved for 18 and plus. Now, the fight in the Premier League is not the only one happening. It feels like every league is currently fighting, and La Liga is definitely one of them. Maybe not in the top spots, but in the relegation spots. There is an actual intense relegation battle happening in La Liga currently. Now, let me remind you of the standings as it is. So, Real Oviedo, we do know, is for sure going down with 29 points. Then it's followed by Mallorca and Girona, 40 and 39 points. You can see how tight these two are to each other. Then Elche, Osasuna, Levante, Alaves, and Sevilla. Now, Sevilla, 43 points, Alaves, 43, Levante, 42, and of course, Osasuna and Elche 42 also. So these points are very close to each other, Lucrezia, and it seems like this is the real everybody can still go down.
I mean, yeah, the La Liga, especially the relegation battle in La Liga, has been really exciting lately. I mean, up until last week, it was a bit more than half of the table that could potentially still go down. There was more than 10 teams that were at risk. But now, as you mentioned, it did go down to just a few. I mean, we do have, of course, Real Oviedo that is already relegated, but then Mallorca, Girona, you see them 39, 40 points. And also the ones you mentioned, I mean, Elche, Osasuna, Levante, they are with 42 and they could still potentially go down. It seems like Deportivo Alaves is now safe because on goal differential and also looking at the head-to-head, but the ones in between Mallorca and Levante are all potentially going down. So we'll see. There's a lot of matches this weekend. And again, all intertwined, they do all relate to one another. We start with Girona taking on Elche, then Mallorca, Oviedo. There's, I mean, you name it, and the relegation battle does apply to each of them.
Absolutely. Now, who is under the most pressure? Well, most pressure is probably, like you said, Girona, Mallorca. Nervous, but slightly safer is Elche, Osasuna. Then probably safe is Sevilla versus Alaves. So this weekend is going to be very interesting, and make sure to check Sporty TV this weekend as Girona take on Elche. So Girona, being the most unsafe team, will be playing on Sporty TV this weekend, so make sure to check that out. Also, reminder that Sporty MVP will be decided on this Sunday. In Lagos, we've been giving you guys, actually Kamohalo has been giving you guys coverage of the best MVPs every week. And this weekend, we can finally see who is the ultimate winner. And of course, we will be back on Monday to give that to you. Now, let's move on to some Serie A Champions League spots, because another battle going on.
I mean, there's always battles everywhere, and this last weekend, as we know, is where everything needs to be decided. Now, we know that Inter has been, already won the league a couple of weeks ago, so now it all depends on all those two or three teams that are battling to get into European spots. We do see Napoli also qualified for UCL, but then going from AC Milan to Atalanta, everything could still change. But should we have a look at this video that explains a bit of the situation in the Serie A?
Even though the Serie A title was wrapped up a while ago, the final day in Italy promises to be full of surprises, as the fight for Europe and the relegation battle rage on. At the bottom of the table, Cremonese and Lecce are fighting it out to see who will stay up, as both teams are only separated by 1 point. The Conference League spot is also yet to be decided, as Atalanta currently sit 3 points ahead of Bologna. But with a 12-goal advantage in goal difference for Atalanta, it will take a miracle for Bologna to overtake them. Meanwhile, the Champions League spots are far from being secure for both Milan and Roma, as they only sit 2 points ahead of Juventus and surprise package Como. With all to play for both at the top and the bottom of the Serie A table, who do you think will prevail this weekend?
Well, let us know, who do you think will get relegated in the Serie A, and also who will make it into Champions League, Europe and Conference? If we can have quickly a look at the table, we do see Inter Milan at the top already, of course, securing that spot alongside Napoli. Then, as we did see in the video, AC Milan and Roma are currently in that UCL position, but they haven't secured it yet because Como and Juventus could potentially overtake them this weekend, as well as Atalanta. But they seem to have secured the conference spot because they do sit 10 points behind that European spot. In one match you guys can watch on Sporty TV this weekend is Torino taking on Juventus, a really important one, because look at that, Juventus is sitting in 6th, and a win for them will, for now, secure them a UCL spot. And of course, we need to see what Milan and Roma also will have to do. Again, everything is intertwined, and of course, all the matches will be happening most of them at the same time. So you can keep checking the table and make sure you know who's going down, who's going up, who's securing the spots, who will see in UCL next season.
Obviously. Now, of course, like we said, it is a very special weekend here on Sporty TV. You get to see all the battles kind of go through. Now, we will get into some Pokal, some Women's Champions League, some EuroLeague, NBA. But first, let's take a short ad break.
Don't miss the DFB Pokal final on Sporty TV.
Oh, and it falls through to the striker. What a goal! I can't believe it. We're just minutes in and it's already 1-0.
Oh, wait, Alex. Look at that fan. He's so emotional. Even his phone is getting some love. But wait, is he leaving? No, somebody stop him. This match is not over.
It is over if you play 1-up.
Get settled early with SportyBet. 1-up. Winning is now that easy.
This is the greatest spectacle in world football, a title decider, and it feels like nothing can sway a game of this magnitude.
Says who? We've been through this before. You just have to believe a little longer. And everybody knows that 1 minute here lasts forever. Because it's not over until we say it's over.
Don't miss the DFB Pokal final on.
Well, there you had it. Michael Lees telling you to not miss the Pokal event. Big one happening this weekend in Germany, in Berlin, more exactly. Now, let's talk about it because it is a big one in Germany. Everyone's talking about it because Bayern Munich are chasing yet another trophy. They're chasing the domestic double, and it will be a proof that they're kind of totally back dominant in Germany again. Now, a reminder that Bayern already won the Bundesliga, and now they want to finish with 2 trophies. By the way, this is Bayern's first Pokal final since 2020. So for Bayern, winning this competition means that they are actually dominant, especially after a Champions League campaign that wasn't very successful. They need to remind their fans that they are one of the best teams, not only in Germany, but also in Europe. So getting a domestic double definitely helps. But Bayern does have injuries. It is the main concern for them. Bayern will reportedly be without Manuel Neuer, Alphonso Davies, and Serge Gnabry. That gives Stuttgart some sort of hope, but I don't know.
I mean, a little bit, but we always talk about Bayern Munich and how their bench and all those players are so talented that even if few of their stars are not available, they're still a big threat. But also, Stuttgart, the opponent, they also do have a couple of injuries. There's 3 players that will be missing. We have Amin Al-Dakhali, Justin Deal, and Lazar Djakovic, all set to miss this one out. But as you mentioned, Bayern Munich could make history, but on their way to make history, they do encounter the current title holder of the DFB Pokal, which is the one side that they're facing this weekend, tomorrow exactly. Which is Stuttgart. Now, last season, Stuttgart won the DFB Pokal against Arminia Bielefeld, and in total, they do have 4 titles and have been runners-up 3 times. Now, in this season, looking at the Bundesliga and where they finished 4th with 62 points, but are qualified for Europe, so we'll see them back in UCL next season.
Now, of course, reminder that this final will be played in Berlin at the Olympiastadion. Now, every final of the DFB Pokal has been played in that stadium since 1985. So it seems like it's a sort of a ritual in Germany, and that's why they have that infamous chant. This year we go to Berlin, this year we go to Berlin. A fun fact there. Now, if you believe that Bayern Munich can get the win, you can bet on it. 1.35 for a home win. For a Stuttgart win, 7.80. Make sure to bet responsibly, and betting is reserved for 18 and plus. Let's talk about another final that's happening in Europe, a women's final this time. Of course, we kept mentioning it the entire week here on SportyNews. But Barcelona will be facing Olympique Lyon. And let's start with Barcelona because obviously this is a rivalry that kind of have been going on for years. And Barcelona, they are the most recent, I would say, champions, queens of Europe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're looking at the history of the competition or female football and then women's football, and then you look at Barcelona and they are the side they're recently of becoming the strongest. I mean, they are dominating Spain. They've been winning La Ligas back-to-back, and this year they already won the La Liga, they won the Super Cup, they won the Copa de la Reina, so they are going for yet another trophy. And as you mentioned, it's history, let's say, of the competition, the French side against Barcelona. And looking at the head-to-head between these two, well, history isn't on Barcelona's side, but maybe now it will be. Who knows? I mean, you look at that team with Claudia Pina, Alessia Putellas, Aitana Bonmati that is now back. You name them. It's full of squad, and a lot of them are from the Spanish national team, which we know is also one of the strongest side in women's football in the world in general.
Now, you did mention it. Their history is definitely complicated. This is actually the fourth Champions League final against each other. They faced each other in 2019, where Lyon won 4-1. 2022, where Lyon won 3-1, and now, 2024, Barca winning 2-0 in that one. So now, Lyon want their crown back, and Barca want to prove that the era has changed. Now, reminder also that Olympique Lyon have 8 Champions League title, 12 finals, and decades of dominance in Europe. Of course, they've had a difficult run these couple of last seasons, but this could be the proof that they're finally back. Now, for the Olympique Lyon side, make sure to check out, of course, Ada Hegerberg, who has been dominating the Champions League and is now back to kind of maybe prove us why she's a legend of this competition. Now, you remember her maybe when she scored a famous hat-trick in the 2019 final against Barca themselves. Make sure to check this match, Barca versus Olympique Lyon, this weekend on Sporty TV app and Sporty TV YouTube. Let's move on to some EuroLeague. Right after this, you get to watch Olympiacos versus Fenerbahce, and later tonight, you get to watch Real Madrid take on Valencia. But we did prepare a special video for you guys to make you want to watch it.
Athens, Greece, where basketball is religion, where legends were built, and where 4 teams now arrive chasing immortality. First up, Olympiacos. The home crowd, the pressure, the expectation. 4 straight Final Fours, but the pain of falling short still burns.
Final Four has so much emotion around it. I feel like it's stressful, but this year's I feel like it's been a little more calm. I don't know if it's that we're here in Athens, that we have more of our routine, but we know there's a lot of emotion that goes into it, but I feel calm and ready for it.
Yeah, I feel the same, honestly. I think it's calm. We're at home. We're comfortable. I feel like we're real comfortable.
Next up, Fenerbahce, the defending champions. Cold-blooded, disciplined, built for moments like this. After conquering Europe last season, Saras and his Warriors are back, chasing history and a second straight crown.
What could you tell me to, be prepared for, especially, going into a game like this?
I think just focus on the main thing, man. I think the most important time is while we're on the court, figuring out, what we got to do to win, and, pushing all the excess noise out. Is focus on what's most important, and that's the game.
The third team is Valencia Basket, the surprise of Europe. Fearless against giants, fast, relentless. Nobody expected them to be here, but game after game, they earned their place amongst the elite.
Honestly, the expectations wasn't there. In the beginning of the season, I feel like everybody was just like, let's just come and do our best. Obviously we're not the top budget team in the league, but I feel like with the characters we have, we was always hungry for more. And we wasn't afraid to kind of step on the floor.
And finally, Real Madrid Baloncesto, the kings of Europe, a dynasty built on pressure, trophies, and unforgettable nights.
I think it was a great season for all of us. I mean, personally, for me, I think it was a good season. We changed a lot of things in the team, but I think we would do a pretty good job of everyone stepping up a little bit.
I mean, first part of the season, I think it was started a little bit slow. Yeah. Obviously, it was not expected, but it's something that we could be aware of because of all the new players, the new coach, the new system coming in.
4 teams, 4 stories, 1 champion. Athens is ready, Europe is watching. The EuroLeague Final Four tonight on Sporty TV.
There you have it. Reminder that right after the news, you can watch Fenerbahce, the reigning champions, take on Olympiacos in their hometown. Now, then later tonight, you have Valencia versus Real Madrid Baloncesto, a one that I personally will be watching. I don't know for you.
I feel like now that I've seen that video, I want to watch both of them. I just feel like it is exciting, Yeah, I don't know. The music, the players just talking to one another about how much it matters to them and about the season they had. I feel like I do want to see what they have to give us.
The EuroLeague this season has been completely amazing and intense, and they have nothing to envy to the NBA. And speaking about the NBA, there is another game happening this Saturday, Spurs versus Thunder. And this game, it feels like everything just kind of plays into Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, we did see the two of them going up to one another already a couple of times in this series. Is the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And as we did see, the first match was won by the Spurs. It was 122 points against 115. But the second match is the other way around. The Thunder won it this time. So we'll see tonight who will get the win and have a little advantage going into the upcoming matches.
Obviously, no, absolutely. I mean, when you look at it, it has been such an intense matchup. I feel like this is the most intense of all the series, because you have Spurs winning the Game 1. Then we thought they would win Game 2, but then Shea came into this game, absolutely destroying everything. And it seems like there is the storyline going between Victor Wembanyama and Shea Alexander, because you have the future face of basketball and the current MVP going at each other. And when you see the highlights of everything going on, Victor, I mean, he changed games in ways that seem almost impossible. He blocks shots from nowhere. He handles like a guard, and he scores inside and out. And then on the other side, you have the killer. He has impossible footwork. That's Shea for you. He's just elite, and you can see why he's the current MVP. And now, I mean, you get to either see back-to-back MVP or maybe the future face of basketball prove himself this weekend. Spurs versus Thunder, a big one in the NBA. If you're, a fan like me, of course, me being a French, I have to support my countryman, Victor. But Shea has been stealing hearts, and he has been stealing mine. So we have to see. Who are you backing on this one?
I don't think I have any preference. I think if I'm awake, I'll try to tune in and see who deserves it the most is the one I'll be backing. But I do not have any preference.
But who has impressed you most in this series between Victor and Shea?
Maybe Shea overall. I mean, he does deserve the MVP prize that he got last week or just a couple of days ago. So for now, I would say him. But we'll see. Maybe tonight things can change.
But it does seem like even Victor, he already exploded for 41 games in that Game 1. So I'm hoping that he gets to do so even in this third game. But let's move on to some Brazilian talk. And when I say Brazilian talk, I mean everything related to Brazil. Of course, a couple of days ago, we did get that Neymar was called out for the World Cup, but then we got info that he was injured. And now we get info that he will not be available for any of the Santos game until the end of the season. Now, it is kind of unfortunate because we do have a Santos game on Sporty TV this weekend. We also have Sao Paulo playing, and Sao Paulo being being the favorite team of one of my favorite colleagues, Danny Passi. So, Botafogo is his favorite team. Sao Paulo is not his. Sorry. So Danny, just come in and tell us all about it.
Yes, girls, hello. It's a pleasure to be here with you one more time, once again. Of course, Botafogo São Paulo is not only one of the main clashes of Brazil in general, because those two teams are huge teams, but also for the Brazilian national squad, Botafogo and São Paulo share a huge importance, because those are, as we see on the graphic on the screen, the two clubs with the most players called up for Brazil in World Cup history. So with Ancelotti's latest call-up, the decisive, the finalist for the World Cup, Botafogo reaches 48 players called up in the history of the World Cup. It's a big feature for Botafogo. Every fan is really proud of the way the club supports and the way the club is tied with the history of course, the nation with the most World Cup titles. So we have the likes of Garrincha, Newton Santos, Jairzinho, Amarildo, all those players which are historical for Botafogo featuring in the World Cup. And again, we have now Danilo, the midfielder who played for Nottingham Forest. He came through the academy of Palmeiras and is now playing for Botafogo, being called up. São Paulo didn't have any player on this specific call-up on this World Cup, but they have some historical players as well, like Lucas Moura. Anthony used to play for São Paulo, came through the academy. So yeah, it's a huge clash.
See, I feel like I insulted you when I said Sao Paulo is your favorite team now. My apologies, Danny. Talk to me about Santos because, like I said, Neymar will not be playing any of the remaining games. Is it a big problem for them?
Yes, it is a big problem. Santos is not, of course, one of the best teams in Brazil right now. We saw them coming from the second division. Last season, they struggled not to get relegated, saved themselves in the last 3 rounds due to Neymar. His last 3 matches for Santos were amazing last season. He was able to save Santos from relegation and keep them on the Serie A. But this season, of course, the team is not as bad as it was last season, but it's also not one of the top teams. And the main reason why they got better is Neymar. He's been playing really well for Santos. I don't think he deserved a Brazil call-up. This is my hot take of the week because everyone has been coming to me and asking me about the Ancelotti's decision to take Neymar, my opinion, what do I think about it. Neymar, of course, is a highly skilled player, one of the best players of his generation, if not the best, if we exclude, of course, Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. But what worries me most is his fitness. Can he be fully fit for a huge championship? 8 matches, all close to each other, a lot of traveling. So yeah, this is what concerns me the most for the World Cup.
Well, thank you so much, Danny, for joining us to explain these 2 wonderful games that you have on Sporty TV this weekend. Sao Paulo versus Botafogo and Grêmio versus Santos. They all happen on Saturday. It's going to be great, and it's going to be without Neymar. So maybe Santos will struggle, and maybe you want to see that and prove to every friend of yours why Santos is just way better with Neymar. Now, let's move on to some World Cup discussion as we were just doing right now. England squadless is finally out. Thomas Tuchel did announce his men that are going to be there for the World Cup. And let me tell you, it is 20 days until the World Cup begins, and it feels like there's already a lot of drama when it comes to this England squad. Now, to break it down with us is Rafael Owusu from Sporty FM, our Sporty family, joining us from Accra, Ghana. Rafael, first of all, I want to hear your thoughts on the squad list. Do you think it is something that do you think he made the right choice?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you listen to Thomas Tuchel, he said they picked the best 26-man squad and not the most talented 26 players for England. And if you look at the positions and the kind of players they have, they've picked every single player for a specific position, for a specific defined role. So clearly, he didn't go in to make the choice of bringing in top names, but it was rather players who can fit a specific role. I know people are talking about the fact that they've missed Cole Palmer, they've missed Phil Foden, but as he said there's no point in bringing in 5 number 10 players and then playing them out of positions. You realize in the Euro 2024, where Gary Southgate was struggling to find position for Cole Palmer and also for Phil Foden at some point in the campaign. So I think he went for the right players and players who fit the right position. I know the Harry Maguire omission has caused a lot of sparks. I know the Trent Arnold one too has also brought a lot of controversies here and there. But if you look at the squad objectively, I think this is a really, really balanced squad. Even in the attack, he actually brought in Oli Watkins, Harry Kane, and then Ivan Toney. These are 3 different profile centre forwards. 3 different profile centre forwards that you can need in every single game, every single situation. So for me, I think he picked the right guys. I think he picked the right people to help England moving forward.
Absolutely. There you have it. England not selected World Cup starting 11. Now you have Pope, of course, between the 6. Colwell, Maguire, who were not called up. Trent, Hall, who were not called up either. Gibbs, White. That one I was really surprised by. Wharton, another one that I was really surprised by. Bowen, Palmer, Foden, and Calvert-Lewin. Now, I just want to know, where do you think England will finish their season, and then we can let you go?
I think with the kind of squad they have and how balanced it is, I think England can go all the way to the semi-finals. I'm predicting England going all the way to the semi-finals at least.
That's a pretty good statement, actually, because they do have a lot of different good profiles for this. Now, thank you so much, Rafael, for joining us and for breaking this England squad with us, and we hope to see you very soon.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Now, another news that we have for you guys as of today, Alvaro Arbeloa did announce that he will be leaving Real Madrid by the end of the season. Of course, this news comes stranger to no one, as Jose Mourinho was linked to Real Madrid for almost 3 weeks now, and he is to be the next manager of Real Madrid. Another news that we have for you guys is that,
well, we have also Michael Carrick being finally offered a contract with Manchester United as a long-term manager. I mean, we did see him take over Manchester United, having them finally secure UCL, bringing Manchester United back to UCL. And now, from interim manager, he's been offered the full-time position, and I think we can all say that he deserves that. I mean, he brought them back up, and let's see what he has to do with them next season.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Michael Carrick. Congratulations to Alvaro Arbeloa for getting rid of that dressing room. And, of course, that's all we had time for today. Make sure to check Fenerbahce versus Olympiacos right after this. But until then, we'll be back on Monday for more news for you guys.
I vigentialum mighty vagas latri. I vigenti show love for everybody. Ahari, ahari, ahari.